My name is Azra. I have close to 9-10 years of experience in business intelligence and data warehousing. I have worked on multiple projects on data warehousing and end-to-end BI implementation. So I've been working in Qlikview for the last 5 years, doing a lot of various implementations across various industries and sectors, cross functions, cross domains. So yeah, for me, I majorly have worked with SAP projects. So Qlikview and SAP implementation. That's a small introduction. So there's this. I mean, if you have known the traditional BI world, the way it works is you have the databases, you have the IT team, and you have these traditional applications like Oracle, SAP Business Objects, IBM Cognos, all of these things. So what these things do is they kind of work. When the IT team works on these, creates all the reports, creates all the analysis, and the end user gets the pre-calculated dashboards and he gets to use those dashboards. Any change, he has to go back to the IT and he has to do it. Now the change is even the smallest change. So if he is having a chart against, by country, by date or anything, and he wants to change the chart or change the measure, so he'll have to go back to the team and ask them to give him a fresh report. Or he'll have to manually create it outside the system. So he'll have to take a data down from these tools and he'll have to create it. The way Qlikview changed the entire landscape. So Qlikview was one of the earliest product solutions for business discovery or business intelligence, self-service visualization, business discovery. The IT team was majorly involved in data preparation in Qlikview. They are now also involved in only data preparation or connections, installation, server management. The end user has complete freedom to do the self-service analysis. So the dashboards are created and given to the user, but the user gets the flexibility to choose the dimension, choose the charts, choose the tables, all of those things. So the user is not really dependent on IT team. The only dependency is to understand, to get the data connected. That's all. So once the data is connected and that it's created, this user is free to do it. As a developer also, you create certain set of analysis and give it to the user. But the way Qlikview is built, user gets more flexibility to do a lot of analysis and self-service discovery. The entire platform of Qlikview is very simple. So you have the databases, the database layer. You have the main component of Qlikview is the Qlikview server and the Qlikview publisher. So Qlikview server plays like I said, it's the main component and it's the heart of the entire Qlikview deployment. So what you do is you would create Qlikview applications and place them on the server. The users connect to the server and access the application. Now the way it is the Qlikview applications that you do it, and I'll explain what these applications and all, or why I'm terming them as application later. So you put these applications on the Qlikview server and it's like a website hosting mechanism. So on a remote server you host a website, right? And all the users connect to the website using a URL. So it's the same mechanism. On the Qlikview server you host the applications. All the users connect to the server using a URL. They get a URL to connect to the server. Once they connect to the server, they'll be able to access the application based on their authorization and authentication. So it will, complete security is enabled. So people get to see what they have to see. So even if they have to, you can restrict them, telling them, okay, they are supposed to see only 10 lines of data, 20 lines of data. They'll get to see only those many lines of data. So that's the security that. Publisher is add-on component. It enables you to manage schedule jobs, run jobs, all of those things. And both are managed by Qlikview Management Console. It is completely integrated to Active Directory, your existing Active Directory, LDAP, or any other security solutions that you have internal. It definitely works with single sign-on or two. Now the development is done by a Qlikview desktop client, by the Qlikview developer. It's separate. It's not done on the server. So you do it on a local machine. And then you push those files to the Qlikview server. The Qlikview server is just like a software component installed on a physical hardware. So,
can I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
Qlikview developer side, do we need any additional license to be installed on development machine and publish those reports through publisher to server? What kind of software we should have on our side?
No, the mechanism is not that way. So publisher has no role over here. Publisher has a different role. Publisher takes care of the server reload, server data refresh, and everything. Qlikview developer is an independent desktop client. Yes, you would need a license. Those licenses will be tagged. So you would have a license for desktop client. Once you develop, you just move the files manually, right? So it's not like you click a button, it gets published. The publishing mechanism is more simple and manual. It's like you copy the files from from your desktop folder to your server folder, and then you set up the publishing on the server using the Qlikview publisher.
Okay, thank you.
You have a separate desktop client that you'll have to install, and of course everything is Windows based. So you'll have to install. You need to have a Windows server, also a Windows desktop machine, where you'll have to install the Qlikview desktop client. So the entire thing is a Windows based platform.
Thank you.
The entire development lifecycle of Qlikview is basically Qlikview developer, like I said, creates content. So he begins creating content. He pushes it to the Qlikview server. So Qlikview, like I said, it's manual movement of files. You copy the folder, or you can definitely have a shared folder where you do the development, and from there Qlikview picks it up. That can be automated in several methods, but like I said, it's simple. Just move the files from one folder to another. On the Qlikview server, the publisher takes care of publishing the reports, publishing the analysis. When I say publishing, it is not like it will send out anything. It can send out emails, but the main publishing happens is the reloading or refreshing of data. So on a desktop client, a Qlikview developer connects to these databases, creates the connection string, and he saves the file. Now when the file is moved to the Qlikview server, it has to be refreshed on a daily basis, right? Based on the schedule that the client needs it. So the publisher takes care of that. So you define the time, we define the when you want to schedule, reload, refresh it. The publisher takes care of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Publisher takes care of the scheduling, and then it moves it to the access point. Access point is like a web server on the Qlikview server, like I said. So this on the Qlikview server, Qlikview web server manages the user connections and all, like any other web server. And the users consume content anywhere. So they can connect it through a laptop or through any handheld device, iPad, phone, anything. And of course, the security is completely integrated. So if you look at based on the architecture and the way the development works, there are three kinds of roles in Qlikview, very precisely roles. One is IT team, who takes care of installation, data content, data connection, administration, publisher management. Developer and designer, both put together, forms a Qlikview developer. So when you see a job profile, right, so asking for a Qlikview developer, so they expect you to know both developer and designer part. So Qlikview has precisely separated this to enable the bigger organizations to leverage their existing skill sets or existing manpower in a better way. Why? Because developer is more to do with scripting, and designer is more to do with the UI. So in Qlikview there are two things. One is the UI, the user interface, where there are charts, there are graphs, there are those analysis part which somebody has to build. One part is that. The backend part is scripting, where you get the data. When I say scripting, it is not new scripting. It is just modified SQL or enhanced SQL scripting. So you would connect to the data sources, bring in the data into Qlikview. You can do the entire ETL process in the scripting, and then you can build the designer part, which is the front end. So we would be doing that only. Now, it's like the bigger companies had existing skill sets, right? They had the database experts, the ETL developers, and they did have the business analysts who understand what the user needs in the front end. So they could leverage both. So the developers, the ETL developers could take care of the development, and the business analyst could take care of the designing part. That's why they have segregated the roles. But as a Qlikview developer, you would need both developer and designer to be a full-fledged developer in the market. So my course is mainly on developer and designer. Not everywhere IT administration is required. So I would not like IT administration is a totally different course. So I would be doing completely on developer and designer.
Yeah. Is there any course that you also teach on IT side?
Yeah, there is a separate course for IT.
Separate course. Okay. Okay.
The training curriculum looks something like this. So the course methodology is every day 1 hour. So we go through a couple of topics every day 1 hour, and the expectation is you'd go back and practice. If you have any challenges or doubt, you can come back the next day and we can discuss about those things. Or else we'll continue with new topics. Then there is designer. So designer also is around 11 hours. So we have various topics to do design.
And the administration part 1 hour at the end?
Yeah. Right. Then just after you have created the application, I'll explain what exactly has to be done to move this to a server. That's all.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing it from the scratch. So there's no prerequisite as such. But yeah. For the training, we would need the desktop client. I would share the download link from where you could download. You would also need SQL Server Express Edition. The desktop client is also a personal edition. A Qlikview personal edition is a full-fledged edition. Functionality-wise, there is absolutely no difference between a licensed and a personal edition. The only challenge is, in a personal edition, you will not be able to open or access documents created by other users. So you will not be able to distribute it. So unless you have a license, you can develop and send it to me. I can access it based on if I have license. But if I don't have license, even I will not be able to access it. But if you are a personal edition user, you will not be able to access any other file created by any other user. It's like locked to one system. But tomorrow, once you get license, all your files get activated. So it's not like if you get a license, you'll have to redo it, or if you get a server, you have to redo it. So even if you do on a development on a personal edition, you can move the files to the server. On the server, it will work. But for you, it is locked that you will not be able to open any other.
So is there any expiration date on that personal, or does it work forever?
It's a personal edition, so yeah.
Okay.
It's a personal edition forever.
Okay.
So all these things you'll have after the training session also, so you can continue to use this and practice it.
Yeah.
So Express edition is also a personal edition. It has no link or no.
So we just need desktop client, along with SQL.
It has no expiry date. So.
Okay.
Yeah, SQL Server and your sample database. I'll share the link for the database too. So it's a sample database again. All these three things you can keep it forever and practice it in the future too.
We have SQL 2012 standard installed.
That's okay. So
and desktop client we have to download, and sample database we have to download, right?
Right.
Okay.
Then Qlikview, there are 4 kinds of file types. One is QEW, QED, QEX, and QES. So QEW is nothing but a Qlikview work file. This is the main file, which has everything. Main file. It will have the script, the data model. It has the script, it has the data model, it has the UI, and this is the file that will go onto the server too. All in all, this is the only file that you'd be working in Qlikview all the while. So anything you have to do, you do it in QEW. This is the main file. There is nothing that you can do out of this file. So even data extraction, transformation, like I said, ETL, right? So extraction and transformation is nothing but ETL. Everything you do it in a QEW. There is no other file that you can do anything in. So you have to do everything in a QEW. QED is a Qlikview data file. So this basically allows you to store data. It has store data in it. So basically stores data. It compresses data almost 1:10 time and stores it. It is highly optimized storage. It's a Qlikview proprietary storage format. It is also basically, the uniqueness of this file is it can be created only by QEW and used only by QEW. So there is no other application that can create a QED or use a QED. So it can be created by a QEW, used only by a QEW. So it's a Qlikview data storage file. QEX is also, it's a Qlikview data exchange, but this does the same thing what a QED does. It stores data. It is highly optimized. It is doing it. The only difference is why it is called. The name says it's a data exchange file, right? So it can be created by third-party solution like Informatica, Teradata. And it can be used by QEW.
Qlikview data exchange. Is it Informatica and Teradata are ETL tools, right?
Right. So the output from those ETL tools can be into all these are flat files. So they are just all the files will have .qed extension or .qex. So your whatever name .qed .qex. So these are all flat files. So Informatica can give output as a flat file.
So any other tools like Microsoft side, like SSIS and all ETL tools, can they do that QEX?
No, I think you'll have to build a connector. So these already Informatica and all have an integration.
Okay.
So they have pre-built connectors, and there is some technology partnership with Informatica and all.
Okay.
So that's how they allow. Yeah. For Microsoft and all, I think you'll have to build it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have QES. It's a Qlikview script file. So it is the major file to store script, common script. So you'll have a lot of common script across. So Qlikview is not one business function or one kind of it's not a solution for one business or one team. When an organization purchases Qlikview, they can deploy it across all the departments, all the teams, and various business verticals and all. So you can build a finance, you can build a HR, you can build sales, operations, all of these things. Now what happens is, in an organization, of course, there would be some common scripts, right? Or maybe you might have two applications in the same department, but most of the script would be common. So you would want to use that. So you can use store scripts or parameters. So you don't always want to go back, hard code the script and keep going back to the core script to change it, right? So you can create some parameter where if you change the script changes accordingly. parameters, global variables. So it's nothing but a text file. So it is a text file and it is stored as .qvs. It can be edited using a notepad. So these are the 4 main file types in Qlikview. Apart from that, there is no other file type in Qlikview. The majorly that we would be working is QEW and QED. Like I said, everything is a flat file. Even the QEW, QED, QEX, all are flat file. The QED property is it will carry data in it. So, of course, QED is used specifically to store data. It won't have UI, nothing. But when a QEW, right, you create a UI, when you create an analysis, the property of QEW is it will have data in it. So when you load data into a QEW, it will have or create any, based on the data you create UI and all. Of course, the data will be there in the QEW. So when you send the QEW anywhere, either move to a folder, so data will be there in the QEW. So the data will be based on when you refresh. So if today I load or run the QEW, create the analysis and send the QEW to you. So data will be as of today. So tomorrow, if you want new data, you will have to reload it, or I'll have to reload the data, reload the file here. Again, send the new file to you. So basically, it will have the static data in that QEW. Now, this QEW with the static data is pushed to the server. So I create the file as of today by reloading it, creating all the connection strings. So the data is as of today. Now I push this file to the server. On the server, I make sure I schedule the file so that it refreshes every day to get the new data.
So when you push the file to server, you push both QEW and as well QED or just QEW?
Yeah, if you have QEDs in your project, you can push the first set of QEDs, or not necessarily. The way you will have to do it is create the entire project on the server so that the new QEDs are created.
Also created, okay.
So Qlikview's basic principle is simple. So you have the database. And you have the Qlikview file. Qlikview file. So like I said, this file will have the script, your data model, UI, all of these things. So the main premise is simple. So from the database, you connect to the QEW. A QEW will connect to the database, get the data, create the script, create the data model, create the UI, and it is good to go. Now, like I said, QEW will have the data. Now there is one property of QEW. It will always do full refresh. So what happens is, so today I load 100 records. The QEW will have 100 records. Tomorrow there are new records, around 200. So if I want to load those, QEW will automatically drop the entire data. Again, read the complete data from scratch. It will bring the 200 records. So it is always a full refresh. That's the property of QEW. That's default. The reason is, see, this is the file that will go into the RAM of the system. Okay, that is something that I didn't tell, right? So in this entire architecture, right?
Yeah.
So Qlikview is famous as in-memory solution. So what basically happens is, when you move the QEW to the Qlikview server, so the QEW is going into the RAM of the server. So the publisher's job is that. So when you put the file into the Qlikview server folder, so the publisher will refresh the data and put the QEW into the RAM of this server. So the users, when they connect through the access point, they would be accessing the file in the RAM of this Qlikview server. So the size of this RAM of the Qlikview server plays an important role. So it is based on the data and the various different factors. So whenever there is an implementation, the Qlikview solutions team actually does the analysis and sizing for that. So you don't have to worry about it. So on the server, So that's where it is called as in-memory analytics. So this loading of data is nothing but, I mean, the QEW, it just can't be copied into the RAM, right? So it is a slow process of loading. So that's why it is always a full refresh. So when it is refreshing, when the data is being loaded into QEW, at that point of time it is moving into the RAM. So whenever you want to bring in new data, you just can't add a subset of data to RAM. So basically the whole thing is dropped off, and then the whole thing again is loaded to the RAM. So a QEW, when you are working on your desktop also, it is basically using the RAM of the desktop. The moment, it's like simple, right? Any application that is open is utilizing the RAM. So the QEW is also the same logic. So when you open a QEW, it will be utilizing your RAM. So the data is in your RAM. The moment you close it, it just stores it. I mean, it is stored on a folder as a flat file, and yeah, dropped off the RAM. But whenever you want to reload it, it will drop the entire data, again reload the fresh data. So from the database you do it. Suppose your company is using another QEW file. What happens is it will query the database again. So imagine if both the files are using similar sets of data, similar tables, then there is a lot of overload on database, right? So if you look at, there are a lot of fundamental problems in this basic setup. This is the basic setup, and this is how Qlikview is built. There are a lot of fundamental problems. One is you're querying the database unnecessarily twice for two applications. It is always a full refresh. So again, every time you query the database for full reload, full extraction. And of course, there is a lot of loads on database, which is not right. And because of full refresh, you can't do an incremental reload, which is again a problem. So what Qlikview did was, it broke this. I mean, to adhere to all the best practices in the industry, they brought in the intermediate layer, which is nothing but our QEDs. So we have an intermediate layer called QEDs. So what do QEDs do? So, or what do we do with QEDs? From database we extract, store it to QEDs. Okay. From QED you load it to the QED. You load it to QED. Now you might say that, okay, what's the point? I'm increasing the step, so the reload process might increase, the time might increase. So what happens is, a QED to a QEW is a very highly optimized connection, because it's built specifically for a QEW. So imagine if we are taking 2 hours to extract the data from database to a QED. Any amount of data. For example, if you are taking 2 hours to extract it from database to a QED, the same set of data from a QED to a QEW will not take more than 2 minutes. So that's the optimization that we are talking about. So QED is very highly optimized. Now this 2 hours, I'm talking about full data refresh. So the main advantage of QED is you can do incremental loads. Because data is stored and it's not in memory. The QEDs has nothing to do with memory. It will never go into memory. The only file that will go into memory is QEW. QED will always be a flat file stored on a hard disk. That's all. So because it is stored on a hard disk, you can add new data to it. It's like incrementally keep adding data. So that's the main advantage of this. Because it is stored once, you can use it, keep reusing it in multiple Qlikview applications. So you avoid connecting to the database multiple times. So you connect to the database once and create the QEDs.
So one question here, can I have multiple QEDs?
Right. So that's the whole objective. So not one QED, you'll have multiple QEDs. Now the way the QEDs will be built is, so if you have, so let's take an example. If you have table 1, table 2, table 3 in the database. So there are several methods to do it. So first method is QED1, create individual QEDs for individual tables. So that's one method. So for every one table, we'll create a snapshot QED. Then at the, I'll explain in next classes how different architectures will work, where you can do ETL. So the complete ETL process in Qlikview.
Okay. And what advantage I'm getting here, loading straight from database to QEW compared to loading QED to QEW, 2 minutes you said, because of speed that Qlikview has the technology. However,
Right.
Still on QEW I'm doing full refresh, right? There is no
Yes.
incremental refresh on QEW.
There's no incremental on QEW. So on a QEW, QED, it is always a full refresh.
Full refresh.
Now the advantage over here is, this is 2 hours, right? First reload from a database to a QED is 2 hours. The same set of data, if I keep doing full refresh, every 2 minutes I keep doing full refresh from QEW. But if I had to do it directly from the database, I would have ended up taking 2 hours every time, which is not, which is a huge time, right? So I'm doing 2 minutes for this QEW. Now at a QED stage, this will be only for the first time. 2 hours will be only for the first time. Because of the incremental loads, from the second time, it might take just 2 minutes here also.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm just getting the new data, which will hardly take 2 minutes.
Right.
Now this, it will get added to the QED, but QED will have the full data. Though it is 2 minutes for incremental, QED will have full data. Still the QEW will be doing the full refresh, but the refresh will be over in 2 minutes.
Okay. So
the overall time, yeah.
I'm sorry. Does QED support historical changes like updates and all? Inserts?
Yeah, that is part of the scripting, so that you can manage any dimension. Yeah. So new data is updated 2 minutes. The full refresh happens in 2 minutes. So from second day, ideally your load from the database to the QEW will finish in 4 minutes. Updating of new data into the final QEW file will complete in 4 minutes. So 2 minutes from database, 2 minutes for full refresh, and the file is ready.
Yeah.
So this is the status, and this is how things work.
Okay.
So I can continue. I'll go through more detailed architectures as we move forward in the training session.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you would want to see the tool, I can show it. But yeah, it is the same thing. Do you have any? Do you want to see the tool?
Yeah, I never have seen this tool before. Yeah. So
Qlikview desktop client looks something like this.
Okay.
Yeah, Qlikview desktop client looks like this. So you would launch a new file. So the file is a plain canvas. So this is a wizard. You can just cancel it. Okay. This file is a plain canvas. So it comes with nothing pre-built. You can build it from scratch. Over here, this is where I can create new sheet. I can create charts, all of these in the front end. So this is the front end. Now to create all of those things, I would need data, right? So the data is in the back end. You'll have to go to File, say Edit Script. Now it will take me to the script editor where I'll have to write the script to connect to a database or bring in data. So here you have the main tab. Below you have the tabs, data, functions, variable settings. Data has to do with everything to bring in data into Qlikview. So you can choose, you have ODBC, OLEDB. For specific databases, you have specific connectors. Most of it is generic, ODBC or OLEDB. Whenever you're dealing with those specific databases like SAP or Hyperion or Salesforce.com, you get specific connectors for those. So those connectors, once you install, all of them will be listed over here under the ODBC and OLEDB. So you can choose. So generally, I have the SQL Server. So for SQL Server, ODBC works fine. So I choose ODBC. Let's say connect. And when I choose ODBC and connect, So it will give me option to select the system DSN. To connection to any ODBC client, I need to create a predefined system DSN, right? So that's what I do. I have done already here. I can choose any one of them over here. In the training session, I'll explain how to create a ODBC.
Yeah.
So I'll say pass the credentials. String is created. Now once the connection string is created, I'll say select. Most of the scripting is done by the wizard, so you don't have to worry about it. It's only that where something complex has to be done, you might have to tweak the scripts to enable that processing or update. So when you hit the select button, it will connect to the database and list out all the available tables and fields. So you can choose the schema over here. AdventureWorks is the database. I chose purchasing, or I'll say sales. So all the sales data comes in. Now I can choose a table over here. So I have a header and a detail. So I'll choose header. So everything, I'll get to see all the fields on the right hand side. So these are the tables, these are the fields. So I can choose star, or I can choose particular field. So if you look at the bottom right, so this part,
it's creating
the script is being generated. So when I use star, it says SQL select star. When I use fields, it selects the fields. If you can see that. Let me select all the fields except for 2. All the fields are created. So Qlikview creates the entire script. Now I'll add another table. I'll say select. This time I will get the sales order detail. I'll say add. Now the script by default gets generated. So sales order detail. I'll save this file. Now the reload button is over here. So if I hit reload, it will connect to the database and get the data. Basically, I hit reload. So data is bringing. It fetched data from sales order header, 31,000 lines. From sales order detail, 1,21,000 lines. I say OK. So now you have the databases.
Yep. Oh, this is the model you are talking about?
Yeah, this is the model that I'm talking about. Qlikview automatically creates all these connection strings. So when I loaded 2 tables, it understood that these 2 tables have sales order ID in common. So based on common field names, Qlikview creates the association. So these are called as associations in Qlikview. So Qlikview creates the association. So if it's not only 2, even if I load 10, 15 tables, based on the common field names between the tables, it will create associations. We can break and make these associations. It is controllable. So we can, if these 2 fields are not the fields that have to be linked, I can change them based on what inputs or what fields I want to link them. So that is something flexible.
Okay.
So once this association is created, so if you look at it, so this is the header, right? So header has the territory ID, right? So header has the territory ID. The detail has the unit price, product quantity, all of these things, special offer ID, unit price, discount. So using this data, I can create a front-end analysis. For example, and this is the front end. I can go ahead, create a new chart. I can pick the territory ID from the header and write a sum of order quantity from a detail. So Qlikview will automatically link it. Otherwise, in a query, you had to join those 2 tables, then do a query, right? In a normal SQL query or anything.
Yeah.
The advantage of Qlikview's associative model is you don't have to do that. It will automatically do it. So you can just copy paste this chart. I did a Control C, Control V. So I copy pasted the chart. Go back to the properties. I can change it. So I don't want it territory wise. I need it special offer ID wise. Again, I can copy this, paste.
It's very rapid development tool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As soon as you understand, I mean, if you understand the basics right in the solution, then it becomes very easy for you to do it. So
Yeah.
everything quickly. So flip the charts to this.
So while you are creating charts like this and go back to model, it creates the model tables automatically, or only two tables?
No. The model tables will, model tables will be standard. These are the two tables. Based on this only, all the processing is happening over there.
So my only question is, what if you don't have direct relationship within the database?
You'll have to create it. Without that, I mean, of course, you'll not be able to bring out analysis, right? So
yeah.
Analysis is all about having those relationships and understanding them.
Okay. Sounds good, Azra. Very nice.
So this is how. So you can continue to add multiple tabs. So mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
The end result can look anyways from this to something like this. You can have multiple tabs. You can have comparison, units, movements, ratios, share. There are multiple kinds of charts that you can create.
Yeah. Can we create? Can we copy? Oh, you said we can do that. This is Qlikview file, right? The one you are sharing, which is that file can be copied to a different project and change right there by changing them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because these are flat files.
Yeah.
You can do it the way you want to. Right. You can just change the data. So you can use this template. So this is the executive dashboard. You can just change the template, load data into it. The data should be of same fields or same data sets. Or even if it is not, you can change the UI based on what your data model is.
Okay.
So the final can look something like this. So KPI is trending. So you see these multiple charts, sales analysis, all of these things. So here multiple objects are being used. So I showed you one object, that's a chart. Oh, here there are list boxes, there are input boxes, various things. All those things we'll see during the training session.